The controversy reveal, midnight to 2 o'clock. What happens when the most controversial moment of a gold medal final doesn't come from a missed smash, but from the very lines on the court? Imagine standing on the biggest stage of your career. The SEA Games gold medal is waiting. The entire country is watching. And you have to fight not just your opponent, but decisions that leave millions of people stunned. Because at the 2025 SEA Games in Thailand, Alexandra Eala didn't just win gold. She won it amidst absolute chaos. Welcome back to Pro Tennis 360, the place where we dig deep into the tennis dramas that mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Today, we are dissecting one of the most controversial finals in SEA Games history. Here is the question millions of tennis fans are asking. When a young player faces consecutive, baffling, officiating decisions in the most important match of her life, what separates an average athlete from a true champion? Alexandra Eala answered that question perfectly. But before we get into the details, let me tell you what actually happened on that court. And believe me, it's crazier than anything you saw on the highlights. If you love deep dive tennis analysis like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. At Pro Tennis 360, we don't just report the news. We decode the stories behind the screen that no one else dares to mention. Now, let's go straight into the match. Conclusion: the future awaits. So, as the dust settles on this historic season, we are left with one pressing question. Where do we go from here? Alexandra Eala is currently 20 years old. She is ranked 53rd in the world. She is a SEA Games gold medalist. To many, this would look like the absolute peak of a career. It would be enough to satisfy most athletes for a lifetime. But if you have been paying attention to the fire in her eyes, you know the truth. Hell no. This isn't the end of the story. This is barely the end of the first chapter. If we look at the history of the legends of this game, icons like Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova, or Naomi Osaka, they all had their definitive arrival moments in their early 20s. They used that initial breakthrough as a springboard to launch themselves into the stratosphere of sporting immortality. Alex Eala is currently on that exact soaring trajectory. She isn't just building a respectable professional career. She is meticulously constructing a legacy. She is opening doors that have been locked for Filipino athletes for decades, proving that the pathway to the top 50 is not just a dream, but a reality. When we look ahead to the 2026 and 2027 seasons, the possibilities are dizzying. What is the next milestone? A move into the top 30? A seed at a Grand Slam? A deep run at the Australian Open or Roland Garros? Perhaps even a Grand Slam title itself? At this point in her development, with the mental toughness she has shown, absolutely nothing is impossible. She has the game, she has the team, and most importantly, she has the temperament of a winner. If you enjoyed this deep dive analysis into the mechanics of her rise and the drama of her season, then you are exactly where you belong. Here at Pro Tennis 360, we refuse to settle for surface-level reporting. We go deeper than the headlines to analyze the matches, the mindsets, and the moments that define the soul of this sport. We want to thank you for being part of this journey today. If you want to stay updated on Alex's progress and the rest of the tennis world, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on those notifications. We have more exclusive deep dives and tennis dramas coming your way that you simply won't find anywhere else. I'm your name, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep striving, keep fighting, and never let circumstances write your story. The stage is set 2 to 4 o'clock. To understand why this moment was so monumental, you need to know who Alexandra Eala is and what she overcame to stand on that court. By 2025, 20-year-old Alexandra Eala became the brightest star in Philippine tennis, climbing to world number 53, the highest ranking ever achieved by a Filipino. This wasn't luck. This was the result of an explosive year. Think about this. At the start of 2025, Eala was ranked outside the top 130. Talent? Yes. Potential? Certainly. But she was waiting for that breakthrough season to prove she belonged at the elite level. Then, the Miami Open changed everything. Facing a draw packed with Grand Slam champions and top 10 players, Eala put on the performance of a lifetime. Match after match, she played fearless tennis, shocking veterans to become the first Filipino in history to reach the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event. That performance alone propelled her into the global spotlight. But she didn't stop there. On the grass of Eastbourne, she fought from the qualifiers all the way to the final, becoming the first Filipino to reach a WTA Tour final. Even after a tough loss to Maya Joint, the message was clear. Alexandra Eala was no longer a prospect. She was a contender. Then came Guadalajara, where she claimed her first WTA 125 title, and the US Open, where she secured her first Grand Slam main draw win by upsetting the 14th seed, Clara Tauson. So when she returned to the SEA Games, it wasn't about points or prize money. It was about national pride. It was about bringing home a gold medal for the Philippines after a 26-year drought. And that is why what happened in the final felt so wrong. The match begins. First signs of trouble, 4 to 6 o'clock. The women's singles final was supposed to be a celebration. A fair fight between the Philippines' brightest star and Thailand's home favorite, Maninkaya Sawanki, ranked 240th and playing in front of a partisan home crowd. Instead, the match quickly spiraled into one of the most controversial moments of the games. From the very first few games, something felt off. Points ended abruptly. Balls that were clearly in were called out. Momentum was stopped and restarted in bizarre ways. With every questionable call, the tension in the stadium grew thicker. Here is the breakdown of what actually happened. Eala was playing aggressive tennis. Her serve was sharp, and her baseline shots were heavy and deep. She was in control. But then, the strange calls began. A ball clearly in? Called out. A ball clearly out? Called in. And the most concerning part? These calls weren't random. They happened at crucial moments, break points, game points, moments that shift the entire momentum of a set. Fans watching live immediately took to social media. One viewer on X summarized it bluntly: 3 consecutive wrong line calls at key moments. An unusually long break where the Thai player left the court. And then, at 15 to 0, a shoe-in soul change mid-game, completely breaking the rhythm. In professional tennis, rhythm is everything. When that flow is broken repeatedly, it can rattle even the most experienced veterans. Eala was being forced to constantly reset. But Alexandra Eala is no ordinary player. There are moments in sports that define an athlete, not by how they win, but how they face unfairness. For Eala, that moment came mid-match. After a string of baffling line calls, Eala walked up to the chair umpire. She didn't scream. She didn't throw her racket. But her frustration was undeniable as she questioned the series of confusing decisions. For a gold medal final under the bright lights of an international event, this was an extraordinary scene. We've seen famous meltdowns in tennis, rackets smashed, insults hurled. But this was different. This was a 20-year-old representative of her country trying to stay calm while everything around her seemed to be conspiring against her. She didn't break. She presented her case clearly and methodically, then went back to work. But that moment, it went viral. Video clips were shared thousands of times. Tennis followers worldwide began analyzing every call. The question is, if you were in her shoes, what would you do? Would you let those calls eat your confidence? Or would you do what Alexandra Eala did? You use it as fuel. You decide that the only way to ensure justice is to play so well that no umpire's decision can make a difference. Social media explosion. The world reacts. While the match was still live, the internet exploded. Clips on X, Instagram, and TikTok racked up millions of views. But it wasn't just angry fans. It was experts, former players, and commentators. One user shared a detailed breakdown. 3 wrong calls in a row. A long, unexplained bathroom break. A mid-game insole change at 15 to 0. Let's pause because that last part is the most ironic. In pro tennis, rules are strict. You have 25 seconds between points. You cannot leave the court without permission. You certainly don't change shoot parts mid-game unless there is a medical reason. One former pro tweeted, I've played for 15 years. I have never seen a player allowed to change an insole mid-game, especially not in a final. Another commentator wrote, "These calls weren't just wrong, they were consistently wrong in one direction." In the Philippines, the reaction was massive. Athletes from other sports spoke out. Senators called for an investigation. #Justice for Eala trended nationwide. However, some argued that line calls are always subjective and Eala was just frustrated. But the undeniable reality is, whether intentional or not, these calls created a mountain of extra challenges for Eala. Her response to those challenges became the real story. Eala's response: dominance under pressure. Great athletes find a way to level up when conditions become unfair. That is exactly what Alexandra Eala did. Instead of letting the interruptions get into her head, she locked in. She stopped reacting to the noise. She stopped letting the sudden breaks affect her mind. She upgraded her level of play, game after game. Her serve became sharper. Every shot was placed with surgical precision. Her movement became more aggressive. Her baseline shots were so heavy and deep that they left no room for doubt. No space for a close call to even matter. Her strategy was simple. If the umpire calls the lines out, I will hit the ball so far inside the court that no one can question it. If the opponent takes an irregular break, she ensures that when they return, they are met with tennis they cannot handle. And you know what happened? Eala began to dominate. Set 1, 6-1. Set 2, 6-2. An overwhelming victory despite the controversy. Alexandra Eala walked off the court with the gold medal. This victory wasn't just about tennis skill. It was about mental fortitude. Anyone can win when things are fair. It takes a special athlete to win when everything feels wrong. Historical context: 26 years in the making. To understand the weight of this moment, we have to go back in time. The last Philippines SEA Games gold medal in tennis singles was in 1999, 26 years ago. Think about that. An entire generation of Filipino players had tried and failed. An entire generation of hopes and disappointments. The drought was finally broken by a 20-year-old who refused to let circumstances define her story. This gold medal isn't just about Alex. It's for every coach who believed in Philippine tennis. It's for every parent who invested their savings into their child's training. It's for every kid in Manila dreaming of standing on that podium. The idea that someone could have tried to influence that result, intentionally or not, felt like a personal betrayal to everyone who waited 26 years. But Eala didn't let that happen. She refused to let a controversy be the headline. She won so decisively that no one could put an asterisk next to her name. The 2025 breakthrough season. It is vital to understand that this spectacular SEA Games performance wasn't some isolated fluke or a sudden stroke of luck. It wasn't a one-off tournament where the stars simply aligned. Instead, this gold medal was the glorious cherry on top of what can only be described as a revolutionary, record-breaking year for Alexandra Eala. To understand the athlete who stepped onto the court in the Philippines, you have to look at the warrior who spent the first half of 2025 dismantling the world's elite on the global tour. Let's step back and analyze the full, breathtaking picture of her 2025 season. It started with a shocking, deep run at the WTA 1000 in Miami. On one of the biggest stages in tennis, Alex played like a seasoned veteran, reaching the semifinals and taking down multiple top 10 players in the process. She proved that her game wasn't just good for her age, it was elite by any standard. She followed that up with a historic appearance at the Eastbourne Open, where she became the first ever Filipino to reach a WTA grass court final. Then came Guadalajara, where she hoisted her first WTA 125 championship trophy, proving she had the stamina to go the distance in a grueling tournament week. And perhaps most importantly, she finally broke the slam barrier by securing her first ever main draw win at the US Open in New York. By the time the season reached its twilight, Alex had skyrocketed to world number 53. This is rarefied air. But the true beauty of her 2025 campaign isn't just found in the ranking points or the prize money. It's found in her loyalty. Most players at her level would have skipped a regional event like the SEA Games to protect their ranking or rest for the next big tour event. The schedule is punishing and the risks of injury are high. But Alex didn't choose between international prestige and regional pride. She chose both. She proved to the world that you can conquer the elite stadiums of Miami and New York and still have the humility and heart to come back home and fight for your flag. This season was a masterclass in balance. It showed a young woman who is as comfortable under the bright lights of a Grand Slam as she is in the humid, high-pressure environment of a regional rivalry. Number 53 in the world isn't just a number. It is a statement that the Philippines has finally arrived at the main table of global tennis. She entered the year as a prospect. She ended it as a powerhouse. What this means, the bigger picture. When we peel away the statistics, the rankings, and the final scores, we find that this story is about something much deeper than a game of tennis. In the world of sports, we often become obsessed with the end result, the win or the loss. But what truly defines greatness, the kind that lasts for generations, is how you win when the conditions are far from perfect. It's about how you conduct yourself when the world seems to be rooting for your downfall, or when the officiating leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. In the heat of that 2025 controversy, Alex Eala had every reason to crumble. She is young, the pressure of an entire nation was on her shoulders, and she was facing a narrative that felt unfair. She could have easily allowed the drama to distract her. Bach could have used the politics of the match as a ready-made excuse for failure. But she didn't. Instead, she took that negative energy and used it as a fundamental building block for her victory. That internal pivot is what separates a talented player from a true champion. Champions don't complain about the wind. They adjust their sails. For far too long, athletes from Southeast Asia have had to battle a lingering, disrespectful perception. There has been a silent narrative that players from this region aren't physically big enough, mentally tough enough, or don't have the infrastructure to compete with the traditional powerhouses of Europe and the Americas. In 2025, Alex Eala didn't just challenge that perception. She crushed it into the dirt. She proved that with world-class talent, professional coaching, and an unshakable resolve, a Filipino athlete belongs on the biggest stages of the world, from Wimbledon to the Olympic Games. The way she handled the 2025 drama, with a level of grace, dignity, and quiet professionalism that far exceeded her 20 years, is a lesson for all of us, regardless of whether we play sports or not. Life will inevitably throw unfair situations at you. You will face bad calls in your career, in your relationships, and in your personal journey. In those moments, you have two very clear choices. You can let the unfairness break your spirit and become a victim of circumstance, or you can use that friction to build yourself into something stronger, tougher, and more resilient. Alex chose the latter, and in doing so, she became a blueprint for excellence.